Good morning, Coolest Coast. It's time for Coffee on the Coast. Welcome to Coffee on the Coast. This is an episode of Book Banter, which means Laura Schreiner from Manitowoc Public Library joins us this morning. Hi, Laura.
Hello, Tina.
I love our Book Banter days. It does not feel like a whole month has passed since our last one.
Can't believe it. Where does the time go? I don't know.
Yeah. So, but you've got some great selections for us today. Should we dive right in?
Well, we can, but first we have a little something to change it up a touch.
Oh, fun. Okay.
All right. Here we go. We are told it might be a special day for you.
Oh my God.
Possible, so we pulled in some friends.
Are going to sing for you. Are you ready?
Oh my God.
Happy birthday
To you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tina. Happy birthday to you.
You guys are amazing.
There are more people here too. How old are you now? How old are you now?
I've
How
reached
old are you now?
level 53.
53?
Yep.
No.
What? That's
Leveling
ridiculous. That can't be possible. Anyway,
You guys, that was
Wonderful
so
birthday.
have a wonderful
beautiful.
birthday. Happy birthday.
Birthday. Happy birthday. Thanks, folks.
Wow, that was so special. Thank you for that surprise.
Well, that was orchestrated by Tim, of course, and Lynn with the ukulele and all of that sort of
Did you
thing.
hand
So
me my coffee?
I could hand Tim his coffee. He seems to want his coffee. He needs to wet his whistle a bit.
Did you
After
notice
that
Tony was wearing
performance.
his cape?
And
I
and
did.
Tony was wearing his cape. Yes, so
It's
there
the
you have
first
it.
thing I noticed.
Did you
I really
notice? Yeah,
appreciate-
that's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah, tell
Special
him thank you.
occasions. He only brings that out for special occasions, like
Aw.
53rd birthdays. Yeah. That's right up there.
I love that.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. You know, this one hits a little different. I'm so grateful to be here, and so I really appreciate you recognizing it. and
Well,
celebrating with me.
we're grateful you're here every day, but this is a really special one. I agree. A day like this, boy, yeah, extra special.
Thank you, and we get to talk about books.
I know.
How perfect is it that a book banter is scheduled on my birthday?
It couldn't be better.
So, well, I'm glad I asked if we could dive in and just didn't dive right in because I really
Right.
appreciated that. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about your first recommendation is The Paris Express by
Sure.
Emma Donoghue.
Sure. This is a very short book. I finished it, and I don't get a lot of time to read uninterrupted, but this one was just a few days. It is very, very short historical fiction. This is an event that happened in 1895 in Paris at a train station. An express from Granville, which is a small town, to Paris. The brakes failed, basically, I believe is what happened. And it went clear through the end of the station and it hung suspended out the end of the station. Apparently there's something called buffers, so a train would stop and not, go through, but everything failed and it went right through. There's famous photos. It's called the Montparnasse. I'm not good at French. Train station. There's a famous photo of this locomotive hanging out of the building, and it stayed there for 4 days because I don't think they knew how to get it out of there either. Because locomotives are a little heavy. There were no fatalities. It wasn't spectacular as a train derailment or crash went, but it really captured the public interest. This was a time of anarchy in France, a lot of class wars, a lot of things going on. Somehow this really, I don't know, fascinated people. There was one fatality, a person on the ground, beneath the building, well, she was just standing on the sidewalk selling newspapers. And then when the locomotive came out of the building, because apparently it was elevated, the tracks were elevated, so it came
Oh my
down and
gosh.
kind of obliterated this poor newspaper seller. But it's by Emma Donoghue, who people might know from writing the book Room, which was out years and years ago. She also has written a really excellent one called Pull of the Stars, which came out during the pandemic. She writes really beautifully. And this one is really good. There's a lot of characters. It's a lot of people and situations to keep track of. Probably the most compelling situation is there's a person on board who has a home. I don't want to say too much, but she has a home-built bomb. And she's an anarchist, and she wants to set this bomb off on the train to create a lot of interest in the cause, which was big at that time. But she wants to wait until she knows for sure if there's enough dignitaries on board, because it's the starting of a governmental session in Paris. So she doesn't want to do it too soon until the important people get on board. So she's trying to time this. And then there's other people, and there's a pregnant lady, and there's all kinds of people, a writer, there's race issues. It ties into all sorts of things in not a lot of pages. I think around 200 pages. Packs quite a punch, and then does kind of make you look into the history of rail travel too, and the history of what was going on in France at that time, which I was a little weak on, but I know a little more about it now. Yeah.
Oh my God, it sounds fascinating. So the anarchist that had the bomb, the derailment didn't actually have anything to do with her setting off the bomb?
Nothing at all. No, 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 no.
What are the
And of course,
chances of that?
she maybe, you know, it's fiction. There wasn't necessarily a person like that on board, but there were a lot of people plotting things, and there in fact had been someone very well known who had met his end in a guillotine, and she was hoping for that kind of notoriety for herself too. This character was, yeah, I mean, yeah, so you would think this was going to be the tragedy there, or she would have thought that would have been the tragedy is the train. For some of, they never really talk about that, why the train wouldn't stop. They talk a lot about the tenders and the engineers and things like that, and how their relationships, how they work together. But when it came down to it, the train just kept picking up speed as they were trying to make up minutes on their trip. So I think that maybe they threw some caution to the wind, but then when they tried to stop as they approached the station, they couldn't stop.
Wow. All right, add Emma Donahue to my homebound delivery
Yeah,
list.
she Pull of the Stars, I think, might be something you'd really like too. That came out during the pandemic. It was set during the Spanish flu pandemic, so it was released coincidentally during a pandemic kind of time too. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
keep that in mind for you. You bet.
You know, it's interesting too, is you talk about, you know, the one person injured was the newspaper seller who
Right.
wasn't even in the
Wasn't
train
even
station.
on the train, not in the station, right?
It just
right.
shows that you can be doing everything
And-
right, making all these safe choices, and then something so oddball like this.
So oddball, exactly. And I think maybe that's why it captured the attention of people at that time. Because, like I said, there wasn't a great loss of life. It wasn't this huge tragedy. It was just so unusual. It's so strange. Yeah.
Yeah. So did the anarchists still claim responsibility or anything? Were they able to put it in their favor?
Not really. No, it was just kind of a bust. You know, I mean, not to ruin anything, but it's like, yeah, I mean, but I think she was apparently having second thoughts as you go in her mind. Like well, you know, she really wanted to, but well, you know, there's this pregnant lady who goes into labor during this whole event too. So now there's this life coming into it, and like she's not like an evil person, but her mission is so important, but she was hesitating anyway. I think she would have done it, but then other things took over. So yeah.
Oh, how interesting for that insight into French history and
Yeah.
oh yeah, it sounds like
I just looked at it this morning. I was like, oh, that train hung there for 4 days because they didn't know how to remove it. So
did you look up any of the pictures? Did you see pictures?
Yeah, there's a very famous picture of this locomotive coming out of the train station.
I'm definitely gonna look that up.
Yeah, you have to look it up. Yeah. It's actually in the book, near the end of the book too. She talks about what's real and what's, you know, of course the characters are fictitious, but you know, it's a microcosm of humanity who was on that train at that time. So yeah, could have been on the train. Yeah.
Fascinating. Okay, what an excellent recommendation. Thank you for that.
It's a good one, sure.
Okay, so we're going to follow that up with The Things We Have Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. And it's interesting because when I saw this cover, I thought this was like a Nicholas Sparks book at first.
Well, you know, there's some comparisons there. She's the author of Fourth Wing and that whole fantasy series that's become huge in the last couple of years.
I've heard of it, haven't read it.
Right. So people love that. Now, the interesting thing about her romance, because this is a romance, is they've gone back and re-released her. She's become such a book talk celebrity that they went back and re-released a bunch of romances. So this one, there's another one that's great. Someone just mentioned to me this morning, unsolicited, The Last Letter, which is a standalone, but also by her. Great. She writes really well. She honestly does. I went to this one because I was between listening on Libby. I didn't have anything to listen to. And I was like, I have to have something right now. What's available right now? Well, to be honest, Tina, there's 20 some holds on this book at the library, but it was available on Libby to listen to right away. So I start listening. It's like, it was really good. And I thought, oh boy, here's another book talk celebrity. Sometimes, you know, they are what they are. It was compelling. It's a dual love story told in dual timelines, World War II love story. And it's the great grandmother of the current day person. It was really, it touched me. It just tears your heart out. It's two great love stories going on. So there's the World War II couple, Scarlett and Jameson, and then there's Georgia and Noah in this day. Scarlett, the great grandmother here, became a very famous romance novelist after World War II. Her great granddaughter inherits an unfinished manuscript that Scarlett never finished. Noah over here is a famous author who is contracted to take over and finish the story. He eventually writes 2 endings. There's a very, very complicated thing. It goes back and forth and back and forth. And the letters in the mailbox. The letters are from Scarlett to Jameson and back and forth. They're set in World War II England. He's a flyer, but he's actually from Colorado. So he joins the RAF as an American. But it touched, have the Kleenex handy. I will just say that. It really, a lot of historical fiction, which we love. The contemporary stuff is also very, very good. It's a little spicy, not too much. It's not, I don't think it's going to offend anybody. It's not like terribly spicy, but there's a bit of romance. And she writes really well. She writes a great story. This is very good. Yeah, there's a little Nicholas Sparks, but I think there's a little more depth to it, honestly. And there are some twists that I really honestly never saw coming. And I always pride myself, oh, I think I saw that coming. I kind of didn't see some of this coming, you know?
Oh, I'm intrigued. So do you think it's available on Libby now?
I don't know. I don't know. I could not believe that I just was right at the top of the list. I thought there's no way this should be available right now. She's so hot. But that one, I don't know if extra copies were loaded into the system or how that went, but it's very good.
Awesome. So you said she was the author of the Fourth Wing series. Have you read that series?
I have not. I don't read a lot of sci-fi fantasy, but people love that too. I think we're up to the 4th one in that series. Maybe that just came out to some acclaim, but yeah, she writes probably, I haven't read, of course, the sci-fi, but she probably writes equally well in both. She tells great stories. The interesting thing is once she became as huge as she became, they went back and released all these books from 19, 20, 21. This one first came out in 2021, but it's got a huge audience right now.
Okay. Oh, awesome. I can't wait to check it out.
It's good.
Well, let's see. This one, I know I checked Libby to see if I could put a hold on it, and it said, it only gave me the option, alert me when this book is released on Libby.
Right.
So this one must be a new one?
It's really quite new. This is touted as Thoreau meets Bill Bryson. There's a young man who buys a cabin off of Craigslist. It's a 120 square foot cabin in the Pacific Cascade Mountains. He doesn't know how to really do anything. He's just kind of taking a leap of faith, buys the sight unseen. It's called Wit's End is the name of the cabin. Should probably tell you something. It needs a lot of work, apparently, a lot of work. And he just kind of takes this leap of faith that this is not going to be a big deal. It says a clueless craftsman. Apparently he's pretty clueless. I'm actually married to a craftsman who became very skilled over time, but started off pretty humbly too, and just kind of took my husband, which kind of reminds me of this gentleman. You just take on these big projects, like it can't be that hard, I know how to do this, and then it gets bigger, and then it gets bigger, and you find out it's bigger than you thought. But this gentleman has a bunch, and he's got a great story. He just won't quit. Kind of reminds me of my husband because he won't quit too. Like nothing's too big. Oh, I can do that. I'll just buy some more power tools or whatever. I can do this. Well, my husband can do it ultimately, and so can this gentleman, but not without a lot of mishaps. It's a lot of time. Everything always becomes more money, more projects, more depth to the project than you thought. Oh, this is just, well, one thing leads to another, and foundation and rodents and all sorts of issues. And he has friends who want to help him, but it's kind of a love story about just seeing possibilities and taking it on and just continuing to go. He's a really good writer. He writes for Outside Magazine. He writes for Wired magazines. He was a writer who just decided he was also a craftsman and kind of became one by accident, if you will.
So is it based on him? Is it sort of autobiographical?
Yep, it's him.
Oh,
it's him. It's his life. Yeah.
Interesting.
Started as an article in this Outside magazine, and it apparently found a readership and then expanded into the book. So
is he successful in the end? Like, is he happy with what he's achieved?
Yeah. I mean, you get to, boy, do you learn that. I just keep seeing my husband, and my husband doesn't love to read, but he actually finished a book a while back, and he's like, maybe I'll read another book sometime. And I said, maybe he should read this one because I think he could relate to this guy. Nice. And I think a lot of people could relate because not me personally, but a lot of people take on a project thinking it's, I can do that. What's the big deal? Taking off wallpaper or whatever. And then it's like, well, you find something else, and then you find something else. And this structure was pretty sketchy, frankly. In 120 square feet, there were a lot of problems. I
can't even believe, I didn't know you could buy property off of Craigslist.
I didn't either. No, I thought that's a leap of faith right there. To be honest, I think that's not the best decision, but.
Right. Did he get an incredible deal on it?
Super cheap, sight unseen, of course, but the book is selling really well. He's he's definitely garnering a following. Yeah. And I think because again, it kind of resonates with people. A lot of people have done something like this and, oh, I can change the brakes on my car or whatever. It's not that easy. These things or what if you just watch YouTube? I can watch, I used to bring my husband books from the library 40 years ago and he would learn how to do some of these things. Well, now you just watch YouTube and it's super easy. All this stuff is so easy, Tina,
Yeah.
until it's not.
Well, I love the example of that stick-to-itiveness, right? Like
Yeah.
wanting to do something and just
Oh.
keep learning and keep dedicating and keep doing until you accomplish it, even though it's not easy.
No, it's not. Well, you're in so deep. What choice do you have? So yeah. And so
So-
it's pretty cool that way. And this book is becoming, I think this one could become pretty big, honestly. Yeah.
That sounds like a great recommendation. Honestly, just reading the little blurb, I wasn't sure at first, but your description of it really makes me intrigued by it.
Yeah, my coworker Margot, who's someone too, she's making her way through this as well. We talk in our office about books all the time. This one actually came from her, but it's pretty good. I shouldn't say but, she always has great recommendations. It's a great book. Yeah.
Oh, what an awesome job you have to just discuss books. I
Oh,
love it.
it could be. I'll tell you, it could be a whole lot worse. Could be lots worse. Yeah.
Well, this one, The God of the Woods, is a novel
Yes.
by Liz Moore.
Yes.
I don't know anything about it, but I'm trying to figure out the paint that's dripping down the front.
Yeah. You know what? I've read this. Well, I listened to this one. To be fair, I listened on Libby. The paint. Okay, I get the paint now. I get the paint reference. I didn't see that at first either. Yeah, there's a reason for that. It's probably the most literary of what we're talking about here, for sure. It's a literary mystery, historical fiction, the saga of a family named the Van Laar family. They're very, very Tony in the Adirondacks. Their son goes missing in the 1960s, I believe. Yeah, little boy, 5 years old, goes missing. Never found. Mystery is never solved. Eventually, and it's a huge, huge family problem, of course. They're very wealthy, but they've lost their child. They never know what happens to them. Mom and dad, of course, struggle with this. They're very wealthy, but there's a whole bunch of dysfunction there also. But they eventually have another child who is Barbara, who is the person who goes missing at the start of this one. She's a 13-year-old at camp. The camp is owned by the family too. They pretty much own everything in this part of the world. She goes missing. The 13-year-old goes missing too. So then there's all kinds of backstory and all sorts of things going on. And there's class issues and people taking the fall for things they didn't do because guess what? They're not as important as some of the rich people. So, it doesn't matter if we blame them because, well, they're kind of pitiful anyway. It's just, there's a lot going on here. I would recommend this to a lot of book groups. A lot of book groups have read it. It's a large book. It's about 500 pages. It's a big, but it just flies. Stephen King wrote a review, something to the fact that by the time you get to page 200, you can't put it down. There's a lot going on, to be honest. There's a lot of layers. It jumps back and forth between people, points of view, times. But there's a lot going on. It's won a lot of awards. It was a lot of bestseller lists from 24. Very, very good book. Yeah, it's a great list.
Unravel the mystery as you get through.
It does. It does. Yeah. And you know what? You can understand. Again, it's one of those things. Put yourself in someone else's life. You don't know what you would do. People do what they do for reasons you don't always agree, but I'm not you. I didn't live through that situation. A lot of stuff going on. It's not what you think. That is absolutely not what you think. They lead you all kinds of red herrings, but at the end, it's not what you think at all.
Is the paint a red herring?
The paint is, I think that's referring to Barbara had painted her room before she disappeared. She's a young lady who feels, she's 13. It's a tough age, granted. She's in a family that's very wealthy and really doesn't see her. But again, mom and dad are so busy mourning the lost brother. She's the replacement child, which is not necessarily a great idea. She doesn't feel seen or heard. So she repaints her bedroom. She paints some images in her bedroom. And then they paint over them because they're disturbing images, and they repainted pink, I believe. So I think that's where the pink paint probably comes in.
Interesting.
Yeah, poor Barbara. She does have some advocates from outside the family, which you realize later. So she's not completely miserable and what have you, but she does not meld with her family at all. They don't understand her. And again, mom kind of resorts into mom having lost this child, being in a tough marriage with a family that had never accepted her because she wasn't quite Tony enough. Anyway, she kind of goes into alcohol and pills, unfortunately. So poor Barbara is just kind of out there. So she goes to this summer camp, kind of finds a place there, and then some things happen, and you understand things. And the paint has, yeah.
Wow, it sounds deep. It sounds
It's
very
very
good.
deep. It's layered. So many layers. Very, very literary. I just had someone asked today about a book group. Someone's new to a book group. What's a mystery that she's doing a mystery? She doesn't know what this group has read, but what's one she could recommend? I said, well, I might go with this one if it's a literary group. I think they'd enjoy this one. But there's a lot going on. A lot. It's not a linear, here's your mystery, here's your nice little tidy solution. It's a lot going on.
So you had said, in one of the previous books that you couldn't guess.
Right.
Is it similar with this
I
one
would
that
say
you
that. Yeah, I would say that about this one. It's taking you all different ways. You're like, okay, I think I know what's happening. Oh, but there's like 100 pages left. It can't be, So then it goes, down another. But it all does make some sense, and it seems plausible. It's not like it's so far fetched. Well, that's just crazy. It's something that maybe people could do if
if
you're in
only
that world.
life were that simple. If only like in
Yeah.
life when you thought you had something figured out, you could be like,
Yeah.
oh, but there's 100 pages.
Oh, this can't be the end, right? This cannot be the end. There's more yet. Oh, I didn't know there was more to the story. But yeah, it's great. It's a very, very good book, but it's a bit of an effort to get into it because you don't quite know where things are going, and they do throw a ton of characters at you. Eventually, they become very delineated. You know exactly who's who and what they're doing and where they're coming from. But at first, it's a bit overwhelming. I got a little frustrated listening at first, but I just persevered because I was like, now who's this? Now who's this? I don't know. These people are coming at you. But if you stick with it, it's very good.
Okay, so worth sticking with it.
I would say it's definitely worth sticking with. Yeah,
All right, that is
absolutely.
The God of the Woods, a novel by
Yes.
Liz Moore. You've got one more recommendation for us.
So this one is that's a big, big difference. It's a mystery. Couldn't be more different. This is a beach read. This is a fun little romp. It's she's the main character is named Eleanor. She is a mystery writer. She is very funny. Lots of really funny things are happening here. She's very relatable. She's very humble, and she's got some situations that she's dealing with. This one is kind of called a CWC, which I just learned means cozy with corpses. So a CWC, cozy with corpses.
That's a thing, so much so that there's an acronym for it.
I didn't know that either. I learned that in going back because I read this last summer. This came out last summer. There's a sequel that just came out about 2 weeks ago called "No One Was Supposed to Die at This Wedding." So even her titles are very, very tongue in cheek. They're clever. They're funny. There's some very pompous people in here. There's people who are chasing fame. There's people who are just out for the money. She's got this cast of characters. This is a debut by this pseudonym, but this person is named Catherine Mackenzie, and she's written over 2 million novels under her real name. Yeah, under
2 million novels.
2 million under titles, copies sold, I should say. Under her real name is 2 million copies sold of other books. Her name is Catherine Mackenzie. She's a Canadian author. For this series, she's going by Catherine Mack. So while this is her debut for this series, she's written lots of books and writes really well. But this one it's funny. They're making fun at the whole genre of the murder mystery tropes and romance and beach reads. They kind of like everybody's kind of. They're just poking gentle fun at things, but it's very funny. It's not like the scary kind of murder. It's not the gory kind of murders. It's like pushing someone over a cliff, which is nicer. I mean, they're. It's not like bloody that kind of thing, but
more
it was
Wile E. Coyote style. I got it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just no one really got hurt. I mean, they're dead, but they didn't really get hurt. It actually was nominated for lots of awards last year's in mystery categories because it's different. It's a little different. It's kind of fun. I would say it's a beach read mystery. A little bit of romance there. Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. As we go into this nice weather to have this, and as I understand it, the summer reading program is getting ready to kick off. So these recommendations would be great to put on your list to participate in the summer.
And they're very different to each other. I mean, these are very, very different books. So.
Sounds like fun. Oh, awesome. Well, Laura, thank you for these great recommendations. So just to recap, we talked about Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. We talked about The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. We talked about Cabin by Patrick Hutchison. And then we talked about The Things We Have Unfinished. No, The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yaros. And The Paris Express by Emma Donoghue. I can't wait to dig into all of these.
Well, that's good. I hope we've piqued your interest at least a little bit. Yes. Yeah.
And Tim says, it's good to see that murder has made its way back to Book Banter. Coincidence? Not likely.
Not at all. No. I mean, I do love a good murder mystery as much as anybody else too. I go historical fiction, maybe kind of, that's maybe my comfort, like yours. Maybe I'm just extrapolating a little bit and assuming that, but I do love a good murder mystery too. Yeah.
And it's true, you can't only read historical fiction. As much as I
No.
love that genre,
Right.
every now and
Right.
then, I think you call it a palate cleanser, right? A
Yes.
good
Right. Right.
murder
Right.
mystery or something
Yeah.
just light and a lark is
Something completely different. And these books, as I said, all completely different to each other. I wouldn't think this young man who wrote Cabin could be a novel or a writer to watch. Maybe not, certainly nonfiction writer to watch. He seems like he's got something worth saying too. So
oh,
great
awesome.
stuff here.
I just finished a book, a murder mystery called The Photo in the Couple. No, sorry, The Couple in the Photo.
Okay.
Have you read
Okay.
that one?
I don't know about that one. No.
That was really enjoyable, and I was not able to predict it.
Oh, see, that's the best. Because sometimes you kind of play a game with yourself. I think I know what's going on. I outsmarted this author. A lot of times the author has outsmarted you. Isn't that the truth?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so delightful to discover that.
Exactly. It's fun, but it makes it just so much more fun because not only are you reading and enjoying the story, you're also kind of like, I think I got this solved, and sometimes you
And then
do, but in the case of these two mysteries, I didn't have either of them solved at all. Even the every time I go on vacation, it was really fun. It was just kind of a lark, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to reading the No One's Supposed to Die at This Wedding because I'm sure someone dies at the wedding too. So, but in a
Sounds
funny,
great.
only in a funny way, like a friendly way.
They just died in a friendly way.
I mean, it's if you can laugh, it's not that bad. And you know what? They're probably bad people anyway. Because most of these people that die, they were kind of yucky, like not horrible, but they were just like, meh. They were just meh.
Like they sing in Chicago, the musical. He had it coming.
A
He
little
had
bit.
it coming.
Someone thought so. That's exactly right.
Well, thank you for this wonderful conversation. Thanks to you and your colleagues for the beautiful birthday song. I
You
really
bet.
appreciated
You
it.
bet. Yeah.
Happy reading. Looking forward to next time already.
Same here. Same here.
All right. You've been watching Coffee on the Coast. This is a special episode of Book Banter with my guest, Laura Schreiner, librarian of Manitowoc Public Library. I'm your host, Tina Prigge, signing off. Happy reading, everyone.